The Boston Red Sox go into the All-Star break on a 10-game win streak. Sunday at home at Fenway, they complete the 4-game series sweep over the reeling Tampa Bay Rays. MLB Game Night, every game, every night, and we are underway.
When that final out is made, you know it's time for Locked On MLB Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. Prepare to experience game day reactions like never before. Only on Locked On MLB Game Night. Your team every day.
Welcome in, everyone. He is John Frisch, host with his brother Mike of the Locked On Angels podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. They have the #1 Los Angeles Angels podcast out there in the universe. Follow John on the X at Super Halo Bros. I'm Steve Lenox, host of the Locked On Red Sox podcast. Yes, the Red Sox have won 10 in a row. Just in case you missed it from Sunday, you can follow me on the X at Lenox on baseball. We are presented by Game Time. Download the Game Time app today, create your account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off on your first purchase. John, I mentioned it. Yes, the Red Sox have won 10 in a row. We get to that in just a moment. Kyle Stowers, how about a big game for the Marlins against his former team, the Orioles? The Cubs take the finale in the Bronx against the Yankees. We're going to hear from Brian McKeon, who's going to be joining us as a co-host on Locked On MLB Game Night. Brian is going to join us live, and with the Cubs, we're always going to hear from Sam Olber as well. And a milestone for the man known simply as Tito. John, let's get into it. The Red Sox have won 10 in a row. I told our viewers on the Locked On Red Sox YouTube channel, hey, the Red Sox are going to be the talk of the All-Star break in Atlanta. You've won 10 in a row.
Yeah.
Now, with the record at 8 games over 500, and they just came off a series sweep, winning in different ways against the Tampa Bay Rays, and you've really just delivered a gut punch to them as they're scuffling right now. But for the Red Sox, 10 straight wins. No one saw this 2 weeks ago. All Red Sox Nation, all the Royal Rooters on the Locked On Red Sox YouTube channel have thought it's possible, but all of a sudden, they've reeled off 10 straight wins.
Yeah, you got the offense clicking when it needs to. You've got Trevor Story, when he's healthy, is always going to deliver for this Red Sox lineup. Ceddanne Rafaela, I saw the highlight last night. He follows that up, a 2-run home run in this one, a 10-game hit streak. And look, you can always talk about Jarren Duran as well. And then you guys will be getting Bregman back at some point.
He's back. Yeah, he's back. He played,
He's back.
He played in 2 of the 3 games, came back after missing 43 Friday, and had a base hit late in the game on Sunday. He was held out of the lineup. He's not 100%. He had a double in the game on Friday and very gingerly went into second base. And you mentioned Trevor Story. He's not in the Byron Buxton category of, well, if he stays healthy,
right?
Because Byron, it's, but he's had injuries. He missed a majority of the season last year with the Red Sox, but he picked up a big stolen base in this one after knocking in a run, breaking a 1-1 tie, and with that, now 16 for 16 on the season for Trevor Story in the stolen base category as well. So we're going to get into the leading team in the AL East, the Toronto Blue Jays, a little bit later on, but they did lose to the Athletics. So the Red Sox actually pick up a game as well on the Blue Jays in the division and on the Yankees in the wild card, because John, on Sunday, the Cubs able to finish off the series with a victory. With that, they take 2 of 3 in the Bronx. Let's hear from Sam Olber, Locked On Cubs. Shota proving Sam, the Cubs and Shota, proving Sam wrong. And really, he really worried maybe for nothing with Shota during his first half of the season in the big leagues.
After losing game 1, 11-0, the Cubs come back and win the series against the New York Yankees. I'm Sam Olber from the Locked On Cubs podcast. Matthew Boyd on Saturday, Shota Imanaga on Sunday. I will put my hand up and tell you I had serious doubts about Imanaga on Sunday. He given up so much hard contact, especially his last start. JD talked about it all broadcast long about that start and how difficult it was. He was a totally different guy on Sunday. Velocity was up a tick, mixed it up. He was even throwing sliders to righties. He usually only does that to lefties. He even dominated Aaron Judge for 3 at-bats. He was tremendous, 7 innings of work, 1 run, and then Dansby Swanson, who had a really good road trip. Didn't get the results he probably should have, but had a really good road trip, had the big home run to give the Cubs the lead, and they never looked back. It's been an amazing first half, really, a really good first half for the Cubs. In a lot of ways, we're going to talk about this this series, this win, some batting order stuff tonight in a tomorrow show. And then Monday night, we're going to cover the draft. So it's going to be a really fun week, fun all-star break here with Locked On Cubs as we get ready for what should be a very exciting second half of baseball. Heck of a job by the Cubs to win this series.
And John, if you'll allow me a second to share something. The
Please.
Cubs, as we just heard from Sam Olber, the Cubs open up at home at Wrigley next Friday afternoon against the Red Sox. I said it 6-7 games into the win streak for the Red Sox that if they took the win streak to 11, I would sing on the Locked On Red Sox postcast. They want me to do Tessie or they want me to do Dirty Water. I can't hit any of those notes. And it's going to be embarrassing to begin with. I'm thinking take me out to the ball game. We'll move on from that now.
You're not going to do Sweet Caroline?
Again, I can't do it. I just can't. I can't even do dun, dun, dun. I can't even do that the right way. Imanaga 6-3 with the win, but the bullpen as well. Pomerantz 1-2-3 8th inning. Palencia 1-2-3 9th for the save, is 12th on the year. Palencia, talk about an under-the-radar gun guy. I saw him, I think they were a day game a while back on MLB Network. I'm like, where did this guy come from?
Right.
I mean, he doesn't fool around.
Yeah, and we talked about him kind of when he was having his emergence, and, they were still trying to figure out what they were going to do at the end of that bullpen between him and Porter Hodge. And I said, Palencia's got closer stuff, and he's proved it since then. His 12th save of the year, a 1-2-3 inning in the 9th inning. So there you go. They have options at the back of that Cubs bullpen. All
right, again, the Yankees, as Sam mentioned, beat up on the Cubs in the opener. Cubs take the next two. Let's welcome in Brian McKeon. He's the host of the Locked On Yankees podcast, and Brian's going to be one of our co-hosts going forward on MLB Game Night. So, Brian, we welcome you in for the first time. What do you take away from Sunday and the Yankees dropping the finale, and what do you take from the series dropping 2 of 3 to the top team in the NL Central?
Yeah, that's the thing. They're the top team in the NL Central. This Cubs team is a lot better than people think. They've kind of flown under the radar this year. So, it's so tricky with the Yankees because they tend to, under Aaron Boone, go into every single all-star break on a down spell. They can't seem to go in hot every single year. And you got the first win on Friday night. Bellinger looked great, and you were coming off 3 in a row there, and then boom, you lose the series to the Cubs. The Yankees have had a very, very back and forth season. They started off hot. They got this really awful spell in the middle. We'll see what happens, but this trade deadline, they're going to be extremely, extremely active. And to me, the GM coming out, Brian Cashman, and talking about this team and being basically upfront saying we are going to make improvements, which is something that he rarely ever does. They're going to be very active in a week or two.
Yeah, you guys ran into Matthew Boyd and Shota Imanaga as well. I think that's something to take into consideration, especially against the Cubs team that, to be honest, they lost Justin Steele. They didn't have Imanaga for a little bit there. And so I think maybe some bad timing on the way to the All-Star break as well. What do you think?
If you follow baseball very seriously all year, the Cubs are good. If you don't, and you look at their record and you realize, geez, the Cubs are 18 games over 500. They're a really, really good team. So I don't think it's a team that you really take a lot of shame in losing to, or a team that you really, that it bothers you. But, that's my thing with the Yankees, though, is you don't want to have shame for losing to the Cubs. But it's the same point. You want to consider yourself one of the top teams in all of baseball. The Cubs should have no shame in losing to you. So the Yankees tend to do this, right? Well, they'll play the really bad or mediocre teams pretty well, but then they play the good teams in baseball and they can't seem to win those games. So is there shame in losing to the Cubs? Absolutely not. And they ran into 2 really good pitchers on Saturday and Sunday. But also the Cubs should be afraid of the Yankees too. So it is kind of double fold here.
One more for you. Degree of uncertainty right now, degree of uneasiness with Max Fried and a blister on his throwing hand.
I'm not overly concerned. He's been great all year. It's probably his worst start of the year, giving up 4 runs on Saturday, which is saying something really great about Max Fried. Plus, I think the All-Star break comes at a good time for him. He's not going to pitch in the All-Star game, so it gives him about a week to recover. I'm not too concerned. They've got so much science and medical stuff behind blisters now with baseball pitchers. You rarely see any of them actually suffer long-term from one of these issues. So I'm not overly concerned with Max Fried.
Brian, we do appreciate you joining us. We love your work, Locked On Yankees podcast, and we look forward to having you on board as one of our co-hosts joining the show next week, MLB Game Night. Thanks so much.
Looking forward to it, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right, John, let's move on because we go from the NL Central standpoint. The Cubs take 2 out of 3. The Brewers are on a roll. The Red Sox, the hottest team in baseball. The Brewers are right on their heels. The Brewers are right on the heels of the Cubs in the NL Central. Let's hear from Chuck, Locked On Brewers. He's real happy where the Brewers are right now as they completed the series sweep over the Nationals on Sunday as they go into the All-Star break.
Brewers going to the All-Star break, a game behind the Cubs and a 7-game winning streak. You almost hate for the All-Star break to come, right? Because, man, they are playing some of the best baseball in MLB. Hey, everybody, Chuck Freeman, Instant Reaction, Locked On Brewers. Freddie Peralta didn't allow a hit until the 6th inning. Brewers got 3 in the 2nd, and then tacked on a bunch late, including a Churio 3-run home run. Yeah, when I got to the ballpark today, we saw the old Sunday lineup. You know what the Sunday lineup is? When the Brewers take the first 2 games of a series, usually like that final day, that afternoon game, like they just roll out the bench players. They did so today, but the bottom of the order was productive in that 2nd inning. And the Brewers, behind Freddie, the All-Star, are now 1 game behind the Cubs going into the break in the NL Central. We'll talk about all this coming up a little bit later on tonight on Locked On Brewers. Please subscribe. We'll see you then.
Freddie Peralta, John, 11th win on the season, did not allow a hit over the first 5, 6 2/3, 3 hits, 1 earned run allowed. Big part of this pitching staff. And as Brian said about the Cubs, from a Yankees perspective, a lot of people look at the Brewers right now. Their pitching staff, is it going out on a limb? Is it hyperbole to say they've got one of the top 5 pitching staffs all the way through from the rotation through their closer, McGill, right now?
Well, yeah, you've got a couple names in there with Peralta and McGill, but then you think about Jose Quintana, who you never know what you're going to get with Jose Quintana, but this year he's been great for the Brewers. So it's not a bunch of names that people are going to know, but it's another team coming from that NL Central who's going to sneak up on you if you don't take them seriously. And now they're sneaking up on the Cubs after this 7-game win streak. They're sitting pretty headed into the All-Star break.
All right, final game, segment number 1, Marlins, Orioles, Charm City, Camden Yards on Sunday. Byron Buxton, 5 for 5 game, hit for the cycle on Saturday for the Twins. How about Kyle Stowers? Drafted by the Orioles in the 2nd round 2019, traded from Baltimore to Miami with Connor Norby for Trevor Rogers last July. So if you want your team to add, you better make sure you make a good trade. Because, Stowers is one of those guys, hey, he's expendable because we've got so many other players.
Yeah.
He goes into Baltimore in the finale on Sunday, 5 for 5, 3 home runs, 6 RBIs, 4 runs scored. Again, former 2nd-round draft pick by the Orioles. 11 won the final as the Marlins thumped the Orioles in the finale.
Yeah, and here they are again on the road winning games. And you're right, it's interesting to see Connor Norby have a place on this Marlins team because he just didn't have a place on that Orioles team. And so I think the Marlins, they'll be dealing at this deadline too, and they'll be selling. And I think they'll be doing really well heading into next year. You don't want them to give up the assets that they have that should be part of this core. But look, even for how bad Sandy Alcantara's been, get him in that Mets pitching lab and fix him up and get him back out there for the second half because obviously the stuff is there. It's just the performance, he's not able to execute. And so I think even if he's not quite the value you might think he is, he's not Cy Young Sandy value. You look at what they did with Trevor Rogers, getting Connor Norby back. I think that is certainly in play for the Marlins as we head into the All-Star break.
Yuri Perez from Miami on Sunday, 7 innings, 3 hits, no runs, no walks. Love that number. And 6 strikeouts as well. Marlins take 2 out of 3 in that series. They blanked the Orioles 6-0 and almost had another shutout win in the finale on Sunday. Tito reaches a milestone with the Cincinnati Reds, and the Dodgers take 2 of 3 from the Giants. Details next. It's MLB Game Night. Every game, every night.
Today's show is brought to you by our friends at Game Time, the easiest way to grab last-minute tickets without the stress. You can save money on your tickets. You can splurge on food and drinks or merch, or even invite a bigger crew to come with you, whether it's concerts, comedy, theater, or most importantly, get into the game, get into the stadium, especially as we take this week off and get into next weekend. We have the All-Star break, and then you're going to want to see if your team performs well down the stretch. So get there in person. Prices on the app. They drop closer as you get to first pitch, and they've got incredible last-minute deals and the lowest price guarantee. Game Time is the official ticketing partner of Locked On MLB, so let them help you out the next time you go to a game. Like I said, you got time to plan for one this weekend, and then, wait it out and see what kind of deals you can get last minute. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
Back at it, MLB Game Night, every game, every night. Steve Lenox, John Frisch, glad you're with us as we wrap up before the All-Star break. Home Run Derby on Monday from Atlanta. I'll take the field. I right now, so many All-Stars named. I'm curious. Hey, that guy did make the All-Star team, and by the way, decided to put the uniform on, put the spikes on, all of that as well. But All-Star game Tuesday in Atlanta. John, the biggest thing I think you can say about the Reds, we're going to hear from Steven, Locked On Reds, in just a moment. They won the finale, and they did not lose a series at home against Colorado. Mm-hmm. I think that's how you stamp that series for Cincinnati, is they've got expectations after the All-Star break as well.
Especially with their manager. You bring in Tito, and you're not just going to mess around with Terry Francona as your manager, and that's certainly what the objective was when they brought him in. And out of retirement, Steve, you bring him into Cincinnati, you're planning on winning. And right now they're 50-47. They're 3 games above 500 heading into the break. We'll see how things shake out for them. But they did get Tito his 2000th career managerial win on Sunday. So that's a very cool milestone for Terry Francona.
We love our round numbers. We love milestones in baseball. We count all of the numbers, right? Steven, Locked On Reds. Like Chuck with the Brewers, Steven happy with how the Reds have wrapped up just before the All-Star break.
The Cincinnati Reds secure the series and get Terry Francona his 2000th win as a manager. What's up? This is Steve Offenbaker from the Locked On Reds podcast. Got Jeff Carr and Tim Daniel here from the channel as well. The Cincinnati Reds avoid disaster and win the series against the Rockies to head into the All-Star break 4 games over 500. That is right. We're going to have you covered all during the All-Star break, breaking down what the Reds need to do in the second half to be a postseason team. Emilio Pagan gets the save. Nick Martinez does his thing. The Reds manage to avert disaster. Again, big deal going in 4 games over 500. The Reds will be buyers. They will be in position to compete for the wild card. We're going to have you covered the entire second half coming out of the All-Star break. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're locked in, because we're going to keep you locked on each and every day.
Yeah, Steven mentioned Nick Martinez, 7th win, 5 1/3, 2 earned runs. Pagan the save, 1, 2, 3, 9th. 20th save on the season. How about TJ Friedl? Got things going on the right foot with the home run in the bottom of the first inning to get things going. He scored the go-ahead run on an error in the 5th inning. That put the Reds up 3-2 again. Tito, Terry Francona, 2000th career managerial win with the Phillies, the Red Sox, Cleveland with both the Indians and the Guardians, and now the Cincinnati Reds, as John mentioned, coming out of retirement. Mariners, Tigers. John, there was a sweep in this series, and if you didn't pay attention, you'd say, oh, the Tigers took all 3. No, the exact opposite. The exact opposite, as the Mariners had their hitting shoes on all weekend in Detroit.
Yeah, Mariners 35 runs and 40 hits over this weekend. 11 of those were home runs. Of course, Cal Raleigh contributed to that. But they did take all 5 home runs in the finale. Now, they were all solo home runs. And in this one, no home runs from Cal Raleigh. That's okay. He still got that lead. He's still doing okay. He's 0 for 2 with 3 walks, though. And man, talk about a guy who just does it all at the plate. He's taking his walks. He's hitting them out like he does. Also, great behind the dish, switch hitter. There's just there's a case to be made for Cal Raleigh in an MVP season here. 38 home runs at the All-Star break for Cal Raleigh.
We had Brian McKeon on Locked On Yankees. Again, he's going to join us going forward after the All-Star break as one of our co-hosts on Locked On MLB Game Night. We didn't give him the audience here to make the other argument for Aaron Judge in that AL MVP race, but that's going to be interesting in the second half of the season. I want to pose real quick to you, because I posed this to Lindsay the other day. Cal Raleigh, 38 home runs, right, at the All-Star break? That's the number. Over, under for you, because Lindsay took over. I set it at 55.
Ooh. I'm going to take the over. I think he can do
You
it.
are too.
It brings me no pleasure as an Angels fan.
Yeah, I
to
know.
talk highly
Yeah.
about a Mariners fan, but
Yep.
the guy's on a tear right now, and he's on my fantasy team, Steve. So I wouldn't mind having some of those home runs on my team as well.
Does somebody have that on a T-shirt? Simply ... He's on my fantasy team.
There you go. I'll make that. We'll get it
$1 million
done.
idea right there. Dodgers actually take 2 of 3 from the Giants in San Francisco, so they pick up a game on both the Giants and the Padres on the final day before the All-Star break. And this was sort of, Dodgers needed it because they end a 7-game losing streak on Saturday. You win 2 in a row going into the All-Star break, and you can say, hey, you know what? That 7-game losing streak, when did that happen? That was a while ago, right? That's a thing of the past.
Right. Yeah. That was before the break. That was a long time ago, but man, it felt like the sky was falling for my friends here in the LA area because of losing 7 in a row. But they did make it interesting, of course, because Luis Matos pinch hit 2-run home run off of Tanner Scott. That was Tanner Scott's 7th blown save. Unfortunately for Tanner Scott, he's just been worked into the ground, man. And he has been he's carried that bullpen through the first half of the season for the Dodgers because they haven't had anybody. And so hopefully as they continue to get healthy and bring some guys back, they can spread the workload out a little bit, especially for Tanner Scott.
So Dodgers, again, beat the Giants in San Francisco, pick up a game on the Giants in the NL West standings, also pick up a game on the Padres as well because Christopher Sanchez, not an all-star on the National League side, pitched well, picked up another victory as the Phillies did take the finale at Petco Park against the Padres on Sunday. Details from Connor Thomas, Locked On Phillies.
Phillies take the series finale out in San Diego in a tight game, and Christopher Sanchez deserves all the credit in the world. I'm Connor Thomas, your host of Locked On Phillies, and Sanchez was dominant. 7 1/3 innings pitched, 6 hits given up, 6 strikeouts, so he didn't have his best stuff, right? He was in a situation where the strikeout stuff wasn't totally working, but man, did he get the job done. JT Realmuto, his battery mate, throws out Fernando Tatis in a big spot in the 8th. Big time, or 7th rather, big time RBI double in the 8th to put the Phillies up. And hey, 2-1 isn't exactly a crazy game, but man, we'll take it. The Phillies were 0-2 in San Diego. They were 0-2 in San Francisco before putting 13 on the Giants. So yeah, didn't win either series, but you build some momentum going into the All-Star break. You get a chance to reset. That makes you feel a lot better than if they would have been swept. We'll take it. We'll talk more about the performance by Sanchez and a lot more on the next episode of Locked On Phillies.
Sanchez, 7 1/3, John, 1 earned run, 6 strikeouts, 8 wins, 2 losses on the record. Oh, well, it's the win-loss record. ERA of 2.5.
Yeah.
And he's not in Atlanta. I love what the Phillies, did you see this? The Phillies actually said, you know what? You've got that clause in your contract. You're an all-star. You get a $50,000 bonus or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
They said, you know what? Here you go. So he's got 4 days off as of right now. And kudos to the Phillies for honoring that when they really didn't have to, but the right thing to do, I think.
Absolutely. Especially when, the Angels don't have a representative there anymore. Don't get me wrong. I like Jacob Mizorowski, but 5 starts. When last year we were talking about, does Paul Skeens have enough starts to start the game? And he had 13 at that point. So it just feels like a lot of, there's no hard and fast rules anymore, I guess, Steve. It just doesn't feel like it's about the performance, really.
Mets had an opportunity for a series sweep Sunday in Kansas City. They got 2 in the 9th inning to tie the game at 2, but the Royals will run in the 9th inning, win it 3-2, avoid being swept at home. Nick Lofton playing the role of hero, RBI single, that off Sean Manaea. The Mets had this set up with Clay Holmes starting and then Manaea coming in trying to piggyback, and Manaea just could not get the final outs in the 9th inning. 5th walk-off win of the season for the Royals. Can the Royals get back into it? I'm not saying for the division in the AL Central, but can they get into the mix? Can any of those other teams in the AL Central get into the mix with the teams in the AL East and, even the Mariners in the West?
They got the pitching to do it, but they need the bat. And I know that lately they've had some pretty good scoring games and some offense and whatnot. And what I like about the Royals is that they're kind of a scrappy team. And then you've got somebody like Salvi Perez, you got Bobby Witt Jr., you got Jack Caglione, who you're hoping to have, a nice breakout. So if they're going to make any moves before this trade deadline, you got to get some more offense. I'm not sure quite where they would plug that new bat into the lineup, but at the end of the day, if they hope to be a contender, they're going to have to pick up some offense along the way, because starting pitching, I know they've got some injuries. I know that Cole Reagans is out, but that's their bread and butter. And it feels like they have like an endless supply of really good arms in Kansas City.
We have touched on the Red Sox extending their win streak on Sunday. The Brewers doing the same at home in Milwaukee. And the Pirates, the Buccos. We're going to hear from Gary, Locked On Pirates, as they snapped a 7-game losing streak. Details next. It's MLB Game Night. All right, John, I always love hearing from Gary, Locked On Pirates. He always offers something in there like Brandon does with the Twins, Brandon Warren. But Gary's also going to give us a little, he's going to tell us about the one-run victory for the Pirates in Minnesota against the Twins on Sunday. But, the MLB draft also, first 3 rounds taking place Sunday from Atlanta. I don't like the timing of the Futures game. I don't like the timing of the draft and all those different things. But the decision makers don't ask my opinion. So I just offered here real quick. But Gary, little recap of the victory, and also, looking ahead with the future with the Pirates picking early in this one on Sunday in the first round.
Bucks finished the road trip with a victory to finally put the end to the 8-game losing streak, and the Pirates win appropriately in a 1-run game fashion. And this is Gary from Locked On Pirates. We're right before the draft here. Check out on Locked On Pirates. Did a special episode today highlighting a bunch of the guys that I think are in play for the Pittsburgh Pirates today when they pick number 6 overall. And the Pirates definitely need help offensively. I think a lot of people are leaning in that direction exactly for games like this. Tommy Pham continues to kind of be the only one swinging a hot bat. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa kind of brought it today. He struggled this whole road trip, but went 3 for 4 in this one. So, hey, not bad performance from a couple guys. Mitch Keller was great. I think he's been great. He's got his ERA under 3.5. Despite his win-loss record, he's really been one of the better pitchers in the National League this year. All-Star break really needs to be a reset button for this team in a whole lot of ways. And we're looking forward to the draft. I'll see you all later when I drop that video. And tomorrow, a new episode talking about who they select as well.
What do you make of the Pirates for the second half after the All-Star break, John?
Man, I'd love to see them get back to, how they were kind of firing on all cylinders. Their offense was clicking. A lot of the guys that they wanted to step up were able to do that. I hope that this first round pick that they had, their first round pick that they took at number 6, Seth Hernandez is a guy. Oh, yeah. I really wanted that guy.
You did want him.
Oh my gosh, man. And so you're going to pair him up with Paul Skeens somewhere down the road. Obviously not this year, maybe not for, 2 or 3 years here, but the kid is 19 years old and he's got, major league stuff right now that, if they work on developing it, obviously they're able to develop some good pitching in Pittsburgh. But to take on the second half, sitting at 39-58, I would like to see them still click, maybe give their fans some hope for next season, and also have a narrative shifting season. Turn the narrative around in Pittsburgh, because you can't do anything despite your owner. So what you got to do is you got to get it done on the field, and you got to want people to want to come to Pittsburgh.
Extra innings on the final day before the All-Star break. That happened in Chicago for the Guardians and White Sox. Stephen Kwong picking up the RBI in the top of the 10th inning. Guardians come up with a victory. Details on this one, we welcome in and hear from Justin, Locked On Guardians.
Coming on a 10-game losing streak, the Guardians are headed into the All-Star break winners of 6 of their last 7 games. Certainly better than where things were after taking 3 of 4 in Chicago. I'm Justin Ladd of Locked On Guardians. And boy, am I glad the Guardians timed that better streak perfectly. I would have been very miserable. Not totally miserable, because I like the MLB draft, but miserable going into the All-Star break on a 10-game losing streak. You don't want to sit and stew with that. So the Guardians played much better. They swept the Astros. They played well on Sunday against the White Sox, at least from an offensive standpoint, because Joey Cantillo was pitching good and then gave a couple runs. And the Guardians got a lead with Kyle Manzaro hitting a home run off Aaron Savali, who was traded for to take the lead. And then Cantillo gives it back up. Then the Guardians go back up. And then the bullpen gives it back, especially it was Cade Smith. Don't want to see that. And then they have to go to extra innings for the second time in this series with the White Sox, but they pull it out this time, and they go into the All-Star break on a much better note. Jose Ramirez is going to get time to rest some things. Some other guys are going to get time to rest some things as well. And hopefully there'll be some second half guys coming back. Maybe, at some point Shane Bieber, maybe you'll get Chase Lauder. Who knows? But I'm much happier going to the second half than I was last week. We'll see what happens. Anything can happen in the American League. We got 2 weeks to debate trade deadline. God only knows. It's going to get wild. Make sure you tune out Locked On Guardians to follow all of it. Plus, be there on day 1 and day 2 of the draft for a live stream over on our YouTube channel.
All right, so Justin's happy. Justin's happy. John and I are happy.
Yes.
But we're going to hear from Todd Welter, and you wrote here that Todd, talking about a loss for the White Sox, they're 65th on the season, but he's doing this report from the happiest place on earth.
There you go. Here he comes. With every bad outing Aaron Savali has, and while Andrew Vaughn keeps hitting well for the Brewers, it just makes that trade look even worse. Hello, I'm Todd Welter, host of Locked On White Sox. The White Sox lose to the Guardians in extra innings. And Savali had a 3-0 lead, and he didn't even cover first base then in the 6th inning, where the Guardians put up 4 runs. White Sox obviously battled back, but the White Sox are definitely getting the bad end of the stick of that deal between the Brewers for Andrew Vaughn and getting Savali. While he is helping eating innings, he's just not giving them a chance to win, where Andrew Vaughn's actually giving the Brewers a chance to win with every big hit he has. However, Brewers fans, I'm going to caution you, and I know I'm going a little off topic there, guys, but when Andrew Vaughn has a decent hitting streak, he had that in June and July when he was with the White Sox. So he'll have a hot streak just to get his numbers to replacement level, and that's all he's ever been, is a replacement level player. And I'll have more during the week on Locked On White Sox.
That whistle was perfectly timed.
Perfect time. I got a warning for you guys. Toot toot.
There you go. They're at 65 losses. Yes or no? Explanation. Do they hit 120 losses again this season?
No, they're a better team than they were last season, and they've actually got some really interesting play. I know they sent Savali to the mound in this one, but they've got more interesting players that I think are very under the radar, and Todd does a great job covering the team about those players as well. So, yeah, if you're like me and you love baseball and you want to know who's on the come up, check out Todd's show because he knows what he's talking about when it comes to the White Sox.
All right, the way we have this lined up for the final 4 games, we're going to go a little rapid fire here. I want you to do the Angels, of course. That's a no-brainer. So you start Blue Jays Athletics, then I'll take Rangers Astros.
Yeah, Athletics took the finale 6-3. They took 2 of 3 from the mighty Blue Jays, who were unstoppable about a week ago. Austin Wynns had a 2-run home run in the second, his 6th on the year. Tyler Soderstrom, or Soder Pop as we like to call him, home run number 18, a 2-run shot in the 3rd. And then Nick Kurtz, of course, still putting the hurts on people, a 2-run home run in the 5th. That's his 17th of the year. The ball just flies around that yard, Steve. Mason Miller gets a scoreless 9th inning, 2nd save in 2 games, and his 19th save overall. Vladdy Jr., game-ending, grounded in to a double play. Oof. So the Athletics take this finale. Blue Jays still sitting pretty at 55-41.
Rangers took the opener in Houston against the Astros Friday, won the finale Sunday 5-1. Nathan Eovaldi, 7 2/3 innings, 7-3 with the victory. Sean Armstrong got the final out in the 8th inning, got the 3 outs in the 9th inning. Hunter Brown the loss, 9-4 now on the season for the Astros, who go into the break having dropped 5 of 6.
Yeah, we got ourselves the Diamondbacks and the Angels meeting for their finale. Diamondbacks pick up the win. They scored 4 in the 4th, beat the Angels 5-1 to avoid the sweep. Highs and lows for the Angels. This is a perfect example. They were great the first 2 nights, and this one was just kind of a big stinker. Jose Soriano wasn't bad on the mound, but his defense did not help him behind him. And then, that second pick of the draft was kind of a shock to everybody today. Of course, Mike and I are going to talk about that on Monday on Locked On Angels. So if you're interested in how Angel fans are feeling about taking Tyler Bremner at number 2, we'll get into that on Monday on our show.
All right, we wrap up Braves Cardinals. We don't hear from Lindsay. We don't hear from JD. I'm sure at some point Sunday afternoon they were both on the verge of being livid because these two teams waited out well over 5 hours and 2 rain delays. In the end, Cardinals hold on for a 5-4 victory. Jose Fermin, first big league home run, 2-run shot in the 6th inning. That made it 5-3. Cardinals hold on for the 5-4 victory. Braves had 2 on, nobody out in the 9th inning. Ryan Helsley, though, able to get the final out. Sean Murphy retired on a ground out to end the game. Murphy, 3 home runs in the series prior to Sunday. So the Cardinals do avoid being swept. one-run victory for St. Louis. That's a winner for the Cardinals on Sunday. And that does it for us. John, one final thought as we say goodbye to our loyal MLB Game Night audience until next Friday.
I'm boycotting Tuesday. There's no Angel rep. What am I supposed to do? Watch everybody else have fun? Come on, Steve.
Well said. And we leave you with that. Hey, they call it the end of the first half. Obviously, we've hit the midpoint of the season a couple of weeks ago, but this is the sort of the end of the first half leading into the All-Star break. Again, MLB Game Night will continue every game, every night once we get the second half underway on Friday. For John Frisch, Lindsey Crosby, JD Hafron, and the newest member, our newest co-host, Brian McKeon, I'm Steve Lennox. We say so long, and as always, make sure you tell your friends all about us. Subscribe to the Locked On MLB YouTube channel. Hit that notification button, and it will alert you every time we go live with our latest edition of MLB Game Night.